Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are learning about backpropagation. Now let's start our video. In my previous video, we have learned about forward propagation. We understood that forward propagation helps a neural network to make prediction. But what happens if our prediction is wrong? Or how can we improve our predicted output's accuracy? The answer is backpropagation. Hence, backpropagation is one of the very important algorithms in deep learning. What is backpropagation? Backpropagation is the process of backpropagation of errors through the neural network and adjusting the weights to reduce the future errors. Forward propagation helps to find what is the prediction, whereas backpropagation says how can we make our prediction more better. Now let's see why we need backpropagation. So without backpropagation, deep learning would not exist and the weights cannot improve. The neural network cannot learn. Now let's see the mechanics of backpropagation. First is forward pass. The next is loss calculation. After that there is backpropagation. Next is backward pass. After that chain rule and gradients. And lastly parameter update. Now let's discuss each of them. Forward pass. It is the process of passing input data through the neural network from the input layer to the output layer to generate a prediction. In forward propagation, the information flows only in the forward direction. Let's see the forward pass diagram. First there is the input data. After that there is input layer and then hidden layers and activation function and then output layer and we get the final prediction. Next step is loss calculation. So loss calculation is the process of finding the difference between the actual answer and the model's prediction. So the flow goes like this. First we get the actual output and we get the predicted output and we compare the difference between the actual output and then predicted output. Hence we calculate the loss value. Next we have is backpropagation. So backpropagation is the process of sending the prediction error backward through the neural network and updating the weights so that the future predictions become more accurate. In other words, backpropagation is how a neural network learns from its mistakes. The steps here are: step 1, we calculate the prediction error, and then step 2 is we send the error backward through the network, and step 3 is we adjust the weights to reduce the future errors. Another step is chain rule. Chain rule is a mathematical technique that is used in backpropagation. The chain rule helps in computing the gradient of the loss function with respect to each weights. Hence, chain rule helps us to find how a small change in a weight affects the final loss. For example, if the weight changes, neuron's output also changes, so that prediction will also get changed, and thus loss is also changed. Therefore, chain rule connects all these parameters together. The last is parameters update. After all this forward pass, loss function, backpropagation and chain rule, the last step is to update the parameters. Parameters are the values that the neural network learns during training. They include weights and biases. Hence, updating weights and biases is really important. That's when the neural network actually learns. Therefore, we get the complete cycle of backpropagation. First there is the input data, forward propagation, prediction, calculate the error, backpropagation, update the weights, and then we'll get the better prediction. Limitations of backpropagation. Long training time. Large and complex models may take longer time to train. Vanishing gradients. Learning signals become too small. Computationally expensive. Sometimes it can be computationally expensive because deep neural networks may require significant resources. Huge data requirements. There is need of huge training data. Advantages of backpropagation. Automatic weight adjustment. Backpropagation learns without manual tuning. Efficient learning. It works well for huge and complex neural networks. High accuracy. Backpropagation can solve complicated tasks. Foundation of deep learning. Backpropagation is the foundation of deep learning and it powers today's modern AI systems. Hence, these are some of the advantages of backpropagation. Okay, this is all for backpropagation. We understand that first, model processes input data and generate a prediction. Then, the loss function measures the difference between the actual answer and the predicted answer. After that, the prediction error is sent backward. Then, gradients are calculated to find out how much each parameter contributed to the error. Lastly, weights and biases are updated to reduce future errors and improve predictions. Okay, this is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If this is knowledgeable to you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.